Hey guys, how's it going? Nick is here again as always, and we're in the beautiful park of Budapest, Hungary. Now, today I want to talk about something that's been really near and dear to me in the past 3 to 6 months or so, as I've been transitioning from Amazon to dropshipping / Shopify store. Basically, my vision has become where I create a Shopify store based in my niche, and then I transition my already existing products into it, and then have Amazon fulfill the Shopify store, but also start kind of part dropshipping as testing products. Well, now spoiler alert, it didn't really work out for me because my niche is so small, and I could barely come up with products that would complement the product that I already have. Hopefully someday I can just tell you guys my whole journey, when I'm feeling a little bit safe about it. But there was one thing that I've noticed that I think is very relevant to, I think, everyone that watches my videos, and that is kind of becoming a newbie again and starting the process again. And I kind of took a seat back, and I reflected on, why is it that I'm so worried or, so afraid to kind of like start this new thing. There was a lot of, hesitation on my own personal part, and it kind of reminded me of feelings that I've had when I was first starting Amazon. And let's save the money thing for later. But one of the primary things that I thought of that through my reflections just kind of came in alignment was the book How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big by Scott Adams. Now, if you guys know Scott Adams, he's the author of the Dilbert comic, and he's got his own blog. He's done some really interesting work in terms of predicting the election of Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, and he was one of the first people to call that Donald Trump's going to win, and that's because he's been trained in hypnosis as well as marketing and persuasion. And in his book, there was a couple of big takeaways. The biggest takeaway that I got from the book, and I highly recommend, of course, as always, that you listen or read it, is that focus on process rather than focus on goals. And one of the lines, I have it written down on my phone, but from my memory, every time you set a goal, you are, every day of your life as you're pursuing that goal, you are in a constant state of failure. What do I mean by that? Let's say my goal is to have 3 Amazon products, making $5,000 each. Or let's say you're new, you're absolutely new, you're just starting. Like you hear it a lot, in a lot of these self-help videos, like set a goal and go after, and then break it down. Now that I'm saying that goals are terrible, goals are good when you look at them from the perspective of follow the system. So let's say you set one product, $5 grand a month profit, right? I think that's a pretty attainable first, kind of first dip your toes into the game kind of thing, the Amazon game. So every day that goes by, no matter how much you're learning about Amazon, no matter how much you're doing research or you're following through with Alibaba suppliers, every day that you don't have that one product in Amazon that is making you $5K a month profit, you're failing. You're literally failing every single day. Compared to, I will dedicate 3 hours per day on either product research, on supplier research, on setting up my Amazon account, or listening to the Amazing Seller podcast, whatever it may be. But like, let's say 3 hours Amazon related work. Every day that you've accomplished those 3 hours, no matter whether it's like a blog or whether it's actually doing, moving forward, you're winning. So it's like, as long as you follow the process every day, you've won, you've achieved. So it's like the two comparisons that he uses in the book are, you're either in the perpetual state of failure or you in a consistent state of accomplishment. And then Scott Adams goes a step further in terms of goals attainment. So let's say you do attain that goal. You got that one product and it's making you $5 grand a month. Okay, awesome. Now you're left with 2 choices. Either kind of take a step back, celebrate whatever that might entail for you, take a vacation, maybe go out drinking for the weekend with your friends, maybe buy, buy someone significant other, some sort of, gift that you've worked really hard for to attain. And now you're kind of back to, okay, now what? It's almost like an existential crisis hit you. And I think that's the kind of mood that I found myself in back in Chiang Mai. I made a video on depression, versus if you just keep following the process. Once you attain that goal, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to keep following the process of 3 hours. But let's say now your new goal or your new kind of point of attainment will be, okay, now I want to have 2 products, each making $10K a month. So now you kind of like, okay, what is that going to look like day to day? You break it down for yourself. And let's say that's going to look like 3 hours of product research, 2 hours on optimizing my existing campaign, maybe 1 hour on social media and stuff like that, and then 1 hour building a Shopify site. So that kind of brings me back to me starting the Shopify dropshipping store. There's a lot that I didn't know. I think Amazon, it's kind of like, the field is kind of set for you. You just kind of have to join. And yeah, there are a few minor details that you need to figure out as you're going into it. But all the knowledge is kind of out there. All you really got to do is just find a really good product and find a really good supplier for it. Other than that, I don't think there is that much difficulty to it. With dropshipping Shopify, you have to constantly keep finding good products that are in demand. You have to constantly be launching new Facebook ads. You have an option of reaching out to Instagram influencers or blogging influencers that can review your products or kind of put your products to light. So there's a lot of layers of complexity that are added to the drop shipping, / creating your own Shopify website, platform. One thing that a few of my friends have asked me is, so why exactly, are you just not launching more Amazon products? Why are you going into this, thing that's more complex, that you have to learn a lot more about, and that, you're probably gonna, you're not going to make as much money in the next year, let alone the next 6 months. And I thought about that as well. And I think for me, the biggest core motivator that's deeper than any kind of money or any kind of thing to talk about is really just learning. And that's following the process. And so I always compare myself, how I was like back in Chiang Mai, Thailand, where, kind of attained everything that I wanted to attain, which was, having 10K per month, profit, having a nice product, lots of reviews, kind of like building that whole thing out, to, like living in Thailand. It's like, now I got it all. So like, what's next? And then, learning about the whole, like, follow the process and learn new things along the way. So the way that I look at it is, let's say, for you personally, right? You want to get into it, or you want to build something. And one of the things that I found myself, being caught up in was, what if I do this Shopify thing? What if I learn Facebook ads and it ends up failing and I lose a couple of grand, let's say, or $1,000, and it goes nowhere? Well, a good buddy of mine, Ryan, who you guys all know, I have an interview with him on copywriting. He told me, he related that book to me again. He reminded me, which made me kind of re-listen to it, was that, you're following the process to learn, and even if you end up failing, you still got the lessons along the way. And that's exactly what happened. Like, I tried this store called crazycatlady.shop. It was basically like cat accessories, like for cat lovers, and kind of trinkets and little things like that. And I actually ended up breaking even within 2 months. I spent about $700 and I earned about $600 to $700, somewhere around there. But I wasn't really super passionate. Like, I wasn't into it. I don't want to use that word passion, but it was tedious. I couldn't just push myself past the figuring out how to, order from AliExpress, every single time somebody puts in an order. So I kind of just like let it go. But in turn, I've learned how to build a Shopify site. I've learned how to set up Facebook ads. I've learned what kind of Facebook ads do well, what kind don't. So, taking me now here, it's like, okay, well, I'm my goal or my vision for end of this year is I want to start a dropshipping site. Still, women's category, women relevant. Mostly young girls, right? But now I have all this, like library of knowledge that I've acquired through practice and through, as I say, finding out for myself. So don't think about it as, oh man, what if I fail and it's not gonna go nowhere. No, you'll always learn something and then you pivot and then you try it again in a different fashion. And I think that's important to acknowledge that, following the process equals not necessarily like I want to attain my goal. It's like you're gonna keep following your process and you're gonna probably keep failing until you get to the desired outcome, So I want you guys to really, take this suggestion seriously, really check that book out. This is not like a promo by any means, but I just think Scott Adams just summarizes it really well, better than I can ever say it on a 10-minute video. And just really think of it in terms of processes and learning along the way, and then reapplying your knowledge in the future endeavors, rather than this is my goal, and kind of like goal breakdown, you know. And as a caveat, by the way, you know, I've talked about this before on previous videos. Taylor Pearson has an anti-fragile life planning kind of goal setting thing. Highly recommend you check, just Google that, anti-fragile life planning Taylor Pearson. And that's like a very, you know, detailed kind of goal setting, starting from 25 years, working backwards to like 3 months, month, week, and then you review kind of every day. Like it'll explain itself. But you know, you kind of want to balance those two ideas. Don't go full into goal setting. Don't go full into just, you know, just following the process without any kind of outcome. Like, you'd still want to have, you know, a desired outcome, so to speak, but just don't forget the importance of the process. So just stick with the process. And as Tim Ferriss says, we underestimate what we can do in a week, and we overestimate what we can do in a day, or I guess vice versa. So don't underestimate yourself. Just take it one day at a time. It's pretty fucking magical where you can find yourself in a year or 2 years time. I can promise you that. I'm living proof of that. So good luck, you guys, and I'll see you later.